Hi everyone, welcome to the channel English Classes. I am Dr. Sharada and the intention of this channel is to help you learn English contents. Dear students, we have discussed Cocoa Village from Nigeria in the previous video from Unit 6 C Reading A Tale of Three Villages. Now in this video we are going to discuss Ponnimanthuri village from India, which is one of the three villages suffering from the problems of pollution. As usually, before getting into the lesson, let us see the meanings of the words which are in the lesson. Wistfully, thinking sadly about what we wish. Harvest, yields from crop. Outstretched, stretched out to full length. Monsters, large and frightening imaginary creatures. Spluttered, spoke quickly and difficulty. Fist, closed hand. Ominous, suggesting bad thing to happen. Horizon, the point where the sky appears to meet earth. Shroud, thick cover. Tanning, process of making animal skin into leather. Ulcer, a sore area inside the body. Trailed off, voice becomes gradually quieter and then stops. This is a phrasal verb. Ponnimanthuri village, India. Now let's begin the lesson. I can remember the time, she said wistfully, when all the fields around this village were green and the harvest good. Her outstretched arm described a complete circle as she stood in the morning sun. Then they built those monsters, those. The lady stretched her arm and pointed the factories, calling them monsters, and said sadly that she could remember the past when those factories were not there. There used to be green fields around the village. Her voice spluttered in anger as she shook her fist at a collection of ominous-looking black buildings on the horizon, covered in a low-lying shroud of thick smoke. They said that factories need leather to make shoes, handbags and clothes. They said our menfolk would get jobs. They said we would all become rich. She spoke with difficulty and angrily, shaking her fist at the collection of those buildings covered with thick smoke. Before the construction of those factories, these people were told that the factories needed leather to make shoes, handbags and clothes. They were said that these men would get jobs and these all will become rich. We stood silent, each thinking our own thoughts. Yes, they told you all that, but there is so much they didn't tell you. They didn't tell you that to change animal skin into leather, which they call tanning, uses as many as 250 different chemicals, including heavy metals such as cadmium, arsenic and chromium. They didn't tell you that these chemicals are discharged into the environment from those chimney stacks and fall to the earth for miles around, polluting the earth below. They didn't tell you that this would poison your fields so that nothing will grow. The narrator and the lady stood there silently. They were in their own thoughts. Narrator thought that they told you very little and they didn't tell you much. The tanning process of making leather from animal skin used 250 different chemicals, like cadmium, arsenic, chromium and many more. These chemicals will be released into the environment from chimneys of those factories and will pollute the earth around. That poisons would spoil the earth's fertility and nothing will grow on those lands. They didn't tell us that the chemicals would be dumped in open fields and into our rivers, sighed Vijayasama. We had been thinking the same thoughts. They didn't tell us that our women would have to walk 10 kilometers every day. They also didn't tell that those chemicals will be dumped in their fields and into the river water. said that lady Vijayasana. They both thought similar way. They didn't tell that the woman of the village had to go far away 10 kilometers every day. They didn't tell us that we would get ulcer and sores on our bodies. They didn't tell us. Her voice trailed off. There is so much they didn't tell you, I thought. We don't buy leather shoes or leather handbags or leather clothes, she said. First thing is they didn't tell that those chemicals would cause ulcers and sores on their bodies. Saying this, her voice became quiet and stopped. The narrator thought that they didn't tell so many things. At last she said they did not buy any leather shoes, bags or clothes. The story of Ponnimanthuri village shows us the cruel face of the so-called development. Some industrialists came to their village. They said that the villagemen would get jobs and they would all become rich. The villagers believed that and accepted their proposal. The industrialists did not tell them that they use 250 different types of chemicals. They didn't reveal the fact that there would be a large-scale pollution and the lands would lose their fertility. Women now are forced to walk 10 kilometers every day. They get ulcer and sores on their bodies. The villagers don't buy any leather product manufactured in the factory. The writer thought they even didn't tell the villagers many other things. This was all about the Ponnimanthuri village, which is a victim of pollution of leather industry. Hope you understood the lesson. Thank you for watching this. Keep learning.